Hey folks, Jonathan here. This is actually the sixth time I've tried to film this, and well, it's actually the sixth time I've actually filmed it in entirety, but hopefully this is the time. You know, I uploaded a video last night and I had a lot of issues with the quality, and I'm trying to get this camera figured out. So I keep videotaping and saving, and it keeps saving in a low quality, so we're trying to get that straightened out. But I want to go ahead and give you a little update on the car. And you know, I haven't worked on it but maybe a couple of hours since I've got it, but just tell you what's going on. One thing, this car is absolutely positively negative ground. It's not a positive ground system. I know most cars were back then, but this one wasn't. I have the wiring diagram. I've got the original manual that shows the wiring diagram that shows that it's negative ground. The battery was hooked up negative ground when I got it, but the generator was charging as if it was positive ground. So it's actually just charging 7.1, 7.2 volts. So I've got that fixed. I've got the polarity reversed on it, so we've got it charging right now. No problem there. Haven't had any more issues. No issues with the brakes since I'd bled them that the last video. And the fuel pump, that vacuum canister, everything's working fine on that. The only issue I have, and right now, is I've got a problem with the carburetor. And it's not really a carburetor problem. It's actually another problem causing it. But I'll explain to you what it's doing. If you start it cold, it starts great. If you drive it and it's warm and you shut it off, as long as you start it directly back up, it's fine. But if you let it sit a few minutes, the gasoline boils, and when it boils, it actually puts vapors and fumes, up into the intake, even though it's an updraft, so it floods out. And the problem with this car is it's got a vacuum venturi here that actually keeps the air from flowing through like it should. To start one up, when you flood it and you hold it to the floor to get the air to run in, to take over for what fuel you've got. You can't do that on this one, and that's kind of a bad issue. But if you get somebody to hold it down, it fires right up. And of course flooded, but I mean, it does start up. But it's not a carburetor issue. The issue could be one of a couple different things. The timing could be off far enough that it's actually heating up the manifold too much, which is a good possibility. And another issue is new fuel. The boiling point's a lot lower than what it was on old fuel, so we may have a problem there. Now I've got a lead substitute in it, but I don't know if it changes the boiling point. And then this glass air fuel filter is not helping a thing. I want to get this off there, but I want to put something that looks more, period, a little better. But this glass conducts the heat from the manifold really bad and does not help anything. So there's another thing that you can do, and it could have had one, I don't know, but if there's a spacer between the carburetor and the manifold. As you can see, this is mounted basically through the exhaust and then into the intake. Now the reason they do this is when they got the fuel hot, it vaporized better. And if we put a 1/4 inch spacer here made out of a plastic or a gasket material or something like that, it'll actually help us out. It'll help keep the heat from conducting down to the carburetor. So we've got a few different things we can check and try to get it figured out, but either way we're going to do it. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the mechanical stuff done on this car to where it's in pretty good shape. I can see that this lever running off this way, I don't think's right. This is almost hitting the bolt on the distributor. This is for the timing advance. I think it's supposed to be ran this side, and this is probably flipped over to here, so we're going to change that. This is not the right distributor. It has a vacuum advance. I can go down in this carburetor, and there's a place right here I could drill and put a port in to run that vacuum, because this is below the throttle plate, and it'll work just like it's supposed to. So we may end up doing that later, even though that's not the right distributor. It's an old distributor, but I kind of like vacuum advance. It would make it run better. So we may or may not do that. We'll see how that goes. I want it to be a driver, so I don't mind doing a few little things that, something like that is really not going to be that big of a deal, especially since it's a non-original carburetor. Most of you seen in the other video, it's supposed to have a Swan carburetor, which is looks like it, but it's a little different. Okay, let me see what the one of the things I wanted to do, I want to buy tires for this car, and I don't know whether to get you know, the white walls are about $804 for a set, or $808 I think. The black walls are about $660. Do I pay the extra and get the white walls or not? Now both brands are going to be BF Goodwrench, and they're made from original old molds through Coker Tire. It's the cheapest tires I can find. I can probably find some black walls a little cheaper somewhere, but it won't be much cheaper. By the time shipping's done and all, it's going to be around $600 to $700 just for black walls. So I'm debating on whether to go with the white walls or not. And maybe, you know, I told you I was going to paint it burgundy and black, so maybe somebody can give me their opinion on whether it would look okay without them, or would it look that much better with them, to, you know, spend the extra money. But anyway, okay, the other issue, I think everything else is about figured out. There's one issue. Now this is not that important, but it's, you know, kind of important to me. I don't have an emblem for the front, and this is a very, very rare emblem. This is only used this year, which is 1927, and it was only used on a straight 8 car. The inline 6 car and 4-cylinder car had a different emblem, so this emblem, you know, is going to be really hard to find. Now I found one online that a guy has that's in his collection of emblems, but he won't sell it because he collects emblems. I've got a car, he's got an emblem, but I wish the two could meet, but you know how that is. I found another one, and this is where I'm asking for a little bit of help. Maybe somebody possibly knows a little Spanish. I think it's in Spanish. It's a website, and I'll show you, and maybe you can tell me what you think. Okay, hopefully the glare is not too bad. Here's the emblem I'm talking about. This is the Elcar 8 emblem for 1927. And they only used it this year, and then they didn't use it after that because Rolls-Royce complained that it looked too much like a Rolls-Royce emblem. So they actually, you know, done away with it. So we're only looking at 1 year production, only on the straight 8 cars. Now I found one, and it's on this website, Mercado Libre, and I'm not familiar with this. I don't know if this is like an eBay for, I think this is Argentina. But hopefully somebody maybe can help me with this. Emblems in, you know, fair shape. They want 5,000, I'm thinking that's pesos, which would be $257 and something, I believe. And I know that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for an emblem. But from what I'm seeing, it may not, you know, it may be actually cheaper than what I could get it for somewhere else. And because they're talking all the way up to $800 for some of the rare emblems like this. So anyway, if anybody's familiar with this site and knows anything about it, or maybe can speak Spanish, this is actually translated to English here, but you know, I'm just not familiar with it. I hope, you know, maybe it's legit, but you know, I don't want to really do something and then he's not, or the owner's not going to ship it to me, or you know, won't ship overseas, or you know, have some kind of problem where I lose my money. But maybe somebody can help me out with that. And anyway, I'm going to show you, I'm going to go out here to the building, and hopefully if this camera's fixed, you'll get to see it a little better, and we'll see what happens. Okay, hopefully this is a little better quality. Anyway, here's the building. Still haven't patched the little holes, still haven't taken the scaffolding down, the homemade scaffolding. Looks pretty good. I think it's going to work out just fine. And I've got 240 or about 238 screws in that thing, and just this bit of tin and ridge cap that's on it. Now I put the black stuff, the foam, in between the ridge cap and the tin. You probably can't see it, but it's in there. It's cheap to buy, so I bought it and put it in it. That'll keep the birds out and keep the wind from blowing water up in that way. But anyway, it's done, and we'll get our car under it here shortly. So maybe this is a little better quality. Appreciate everybody watching, and till next time, bye.